The Rhodes Overalls are a playful, fun, and simple sewing pattern for newborns up to 8 years old. If you're looking for how to assemble the PDF pattern, you can click the video below, and we are going to talk about how to sew view A of the Rhodes Overalls. We're going to begin by sewing the facings to the Rhodes Overalls before moving forward. You'll have 4 total pattern pieces, 2 front facings that are mirrored and 2 back facings that are also mirrored. Take the front facings and line them up right sides facing each other. Pin down the front seam and sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Repeat this for the back facings. Now you'll want to finish your seams as you go. You can do this a number of ways. You can use a zigzag shears, a zigzag stitch, French seams, or as I like to use, a serger. You want to finish your seams so the fabric doesn't unravel. Fold the bottom edge of the facing 1/4 inch and iron. Then fold once more 1/4 inch and iron again. Straight stitch along this fold to finish the bottom edge nicely. Repeat this for the other facing. Line the front and back facings right sides together. Match the side seams and sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Finish those seams and place your facing to the side for later. Now we're going to sew the main bodice pieces of the overalls. First, take 1 front bodice piece and 1 back bodice piece and match the long side seams, starting at the armpit. Sew along the side seam at 1/2 inch and finish the seam. Press the seam towards the back. Next, starting at the crotch curve, which is kind of like a J, match the front and back together and pin in place. Sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance and finish the seam and press to the back. Repeat this for the other pair of the front and back bodice pieces. You'll end up with 2 tube-like shapes. Turn 1 bodice piece right side out. Insert it into the other tube and match the crotch seams and chest seam. Pin as needed and sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance, and finish the seam and press. You're going to follow this U shape and make sure that the pieces are lining up as you sew. Hem the legs by folding up 1/4 inch and press. Then fold once more 1/2 inch and press. Stitch around the leg opening and repeat this for the other leg. Now for your pocket, you'll want to decide which type of pocket you want for the Rhodes Overalls. I'm going to show you how to do the curved pocket, and if you want some more inspiration on sewing pockets, you can see our video where we show 5 ways to sew a pocket. Take your overalls and lay them right side out in front of you. Turn your facing wrong side out and insert the overalls into the facing. Match up the notches and seams. When you match the seams, press them the opposite directions to make sure it lines up well. Now you can pin this in place. Starting at a side seam, sew 1/4 inch around the entire facing and overalls, being careful on the straps to pivot around the edges and curves. Turn the overalls right side out and make sure to point out the edges of the straps. Press with an iron. This is optional, but you can top stitch around the neckline. Finally, you'll want to add buttonholes. You'll want to mark where you want your buttonholes to go or your snaps, and using a buttonhole presser foot, add the buttonhole and carefully use a seam ripper to cut open the middle of the buttonhole. Hand sew your button in place and you're ready to go. I hope you enjoyed making these simple overalls. I can't wait to see what you make with them. You can find the pattern below and all the resources available there to help you walk through the Rhodes Overalls.